What if a business could be about more than just margin? What if it could be about impact? In today's panel discussion, I'm very pleased to introduce a few great people. But before we start talking about connecting people, planet, and prosperity, and the future of social entrepreneurship and tourism, I'd like to welcome Ryan Fuller from Messe Berlin ITB to the stage, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see so many faces here. And I'd just like to say on behalf of ITB Berlin, it is really a true honor and privilege to be able to host such an amazing event and to host such an amazing organization. I know and have been able to witness all the hard work that Claudia and her team does behind closed doors to make all this happen, but also to raise awareness and to show the importance of all the work, hard work that the social entrepreneurs are doing around the world. You're all able to set a real high and tall benchmark that is being able to then show the steps that needed to be taken towards responsible and sustainable tourism. So we truly appreciate that on behalf of ITB Berlin. And again, thank you, Claudia. Thank you to your team. And I wish everyone a lovely show. Enjoy. And also travel home safe when ITB is done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ryan. That's brilliant. If we haven't met before, my name is Kevin O'Shaughnessy. I'm just here as the moderator. I'm here to bring some great questions from what I think the public wants to hear about the social entrepreneurship competition and that space in the travel business. For me, I'll try and bring the best questions, but if you're not convinced that I've asked the right question and you're watching the live stream, somewhere on the bottom of the screen here you might see a QR code. That's for our Slido questions if you're watching remotely. Remember to comment and post all about this in your normal social channels. Bring an audience to us, please. But for the audience here, we'll be able to bring a question to the panel through one of the microphones that are here on the floor. And if for some reason we don't get to all the questions, the folks that are here in the room with us will be able to join us for some networking next door. So there'll be plenty of chance to chat to all of our panelists. Now, enough about me. Part of what I do in Dublin, look, I'm the founder of a travel technology company called CityHook, but I'm very privileged to be one of the chapter co-leaders of Travel Massive there in Dublin. And Travel Massive's story is lends part of its story to the social entrepreneurship competition in tourism. And the founder of the Social Entrepreneurship Competition in Tourism and head of the Master's Program in Sustainable Tourism in Eberswalde University is Dr., I'm going to get the order wrong, Professor Dr. Claudia Brozza. Would you please come up on stage and say hello, please? Come on up. Now, you were the moderator last year. So I get to ask you all the questions I really wanted to ask last year. So this is where we get a chance to look into the mind that brought the competition to us here. So thank you for doing this. We've had something like 600 entrepreneurs part of it. And we've been working together for about 6 or 7 years on the competition itself. It's very exciting.
52 countries, and I'm very glad to be here. Thank you very much. A big welcome from my side, and I'm very happy to see also Rika Jean-François here from ITB, which supported us for a long time, and Ian, the founder of Travel Massive. So a great thanks goes also to our big supporter.
Thank you so much.
The last 6 years, yeah.
Absolutely, and you'll see the kind of coverage that the Travel Massive network, it's a network with about, well, tens of thousands of friends all around the world. We get entries into the competition from Africa, from Vietnam, from everywhere. It's quite amazing. And that
Mongolia.
Geographic distribution is all over the place. It's amazing. But that wouldn't be possible without sponsors. Now, we lost a sponsor today. Somebody was out sick, so we have somebody stand in. But another long-term sponsor of the program is Amadeus. We're very privileged to have them involved with the program, and to speak on their behalf and on her own behalf is a long-term innovator and social entrepreneurship follower and innovator is Cecilia Serravalle, Social Impact Manager from Amadeus. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Claudia.
Ready to go, we have Mirko Cipollone, the CEO of the audience favorite from last year's competition as well, from the Apennine region in Abruzzo region, I should say, in Italy. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Mirko.
Thank you very much.
It wouldn't be much of a discussion about entrepreneurship without the entrepreneurs. And one of the operations leads from last year's winner, Astro Stays, we have Simar Preet Kaur to join us as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, at this point in the discussion, we're going to sit down and I'm going to let Claudia share a couple of slides. I was ruthless preparing this session. I didn't want any kind of PowerPoint presentation at all. So everybody's restricted to 2 or 3 slides. Claudia will present a few notes that she's prepared about the competition just to give us a little bit of context. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy that Kevin let me present a little bit more than the others. But it is just to give you a context where we are if you don't know the competition. So I would like to say, close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world where success isn't measured by outcompeting others, but by how much we lift each other's up. A world where tourism doesn't just move money, but people, empowers communities and creates opportunities or changes lives. Bold? No. Essential. Because business carries responsibility. They don't just shape markets, they shape societies. And that's what drives transformation. Social entrepreneurship in tourism proves that business can be more than profit. It can create purpose. And today we are here to celebrate those who make the difference with their lives and their business ideas. I would like to say here that the big idea behind our competition is to do something for us as a platform, as a community. And some people may think that life is a competition with winners and losers, but here, as Rutger Bregman says, reminds us it doesn't have to be this way. The best ideas lift everyone up. And today we celebrate some of these ideas. Speaking of the winners, so this is the competition 24. These amazing entrepreneurs turned their dreams into reality. And please check our website for all the winners from the last years. We have amazing content there, talking about all these different ideas. How did we get there? It is a marathon and not a sprint for all of them. The whole year, last year, from March, from the beginning till November, it was work, hard work for all of them. And I think what we can say is that the application and the taking part in the competition is not just only giving a paper into a platform, but it is a process. And I would like to talk about some numbers. Kevin told me not to bring this slide, but I would highlight really 2 or 3 numbers. 240 applications last year, 52 countries. In total, 24 persons in jury and in the mentorship who supported this competition. And here's the key takeaway of this slide. Behind each number are passionate change makers determined to reshape the future of tourism. And why are we doing this? Because social entrepreneurship isn't just a trend. It is a movement, and we are all part of that. It creates jobs, fosters community, and the most importantly, makes travel meaningful for everyone involved. With our international approach and our deep connection into the industry, we foster this. And year after year, we see that we are growing, the platform is growing, and very happy to see here on ITB, I saw the winners from 2020. And it is great that they are here, and we have a networking session later, so I hope that the winners from this year and also the winners from former years are here to let this peer-to-peer community grow. So I think I hand over to you now. I shaped a little bit the ground for us all, and I hope that we can talk also with your questions about what are we doing here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Claudia. So, take a seat here next to me. We'll pick up on one of the things that stands out for me as part of the competition, that is it doesn't feel, it's not the usual stand-up and pitch kind of startup competition. It's not a show, it's not theater. Now, for us, and when I get involved every year, I do the live stream with you, but that's at the end of a very long process. Generally, at that point, you filter down 200 odd applications, and they go through a proper mentorship program. There's a real engagement with expertise before we see them.
That's true.
You're bringing so much knowledge out there. There's more administration than we could ever imagine as part of that. It takes a huge amount of effort. Fair play. The question I wanted to ask you, though, was, you've taught so much to so many. What have they taught you?
Patience. Yeah, and I think what I learn every day is, if we look at the winners from this year, so in every situation of your life, you can start to do something. If we look, for example, at Cali fast fashion, or people who are really in a situation that they, it seems from our perspective maybe, I cannot do something, and then they stand up, they have an idea, and a lot of people have good ideas. And I'm so happy that we can, let's say, shape a little bit the community to help each other. And this is what I really learned this year. For example, this lady, Christina from Cali Fast Fashion, she had no access to a computer or something, and other people from the community said, other, let's say, applicants, just helped her to get her presentation done. Wow. This is community. This is not a competition where we compete against each other.
It's more, though, than just the bottom line, but at the end of the day, it is an entrepreneurship competition. Like, we need to see that change maker, a part of it there. How do you balance because you base the criteria, you align them with the UNWTO criteria for ESG. How do you balance the more accountancy-based entrepreneurship, numbers-based, acquisition-based pursuit that you might expect with those sustainability goals? How do you balance that?
So we ask in a very clear beginning questions, a sheet. It is 1.5 page, I think. In the end, it's a PDF that our jury members get, and we ask explicitly for the business model, and impact before profit is the idea, but we also ask, do you have a team? Are you working full-time? What are the numbers behind? How do you expect to, what is your vision for the future? And you have to see, we have 2 tracks. We have the launch track and the growth track. So this means someone who is in a very early stage can apply in the launch track, and the applicants from the growth track, they have to share a business number with us. This means, okay, you have to be already a business in the market for some time, and you have to show that you can survive on that, because it's not about just being here and getting money. This is also something I would like to say. We have very low budget for giving out prizes, but what we are doing is creating the network and doing a lot of social media for all of them. And maybe €1,000 sounds not very much for us, but for someone in Uganda who is trying to bring something on the ground, could be very much. But the people who are applying here are not applying for the money. This is what I would like to say.
There's more than just finance there. It comes with a little bit of smart, right? So I want to just talk about the sponsors for just a minute, because yes, there's a check, but there's also time.
Yes.
And sometimes it's harder to get time out of a sponsor than it would be to get the check out of a sponsor. And maybe that might be a good time to bring you in, Cecilia, because Amadeus is not a small company by any measure, and it's something that, do you want to talk about this through slides, or do you want to kind of cover this with Q&A? How do you want to cover this? Do you want to stand up and have a quick tour of who Amadeus are and how you fit in from a social impact perspective?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Claudia, for inviting us to be part of this panel. We were also partners last year of the Social Entrepreneurship Competition, and I was delighted to be part of the jury member. It was amazing to see all these projects and businesses that are really creating positive change through travel and tourism. But you might be wondering, what is Amadeus? Some of you could know, some of others don't, because we are behind the scenes. So we are a world-leading tech company that provides cutting-edge solutions to all players in the industry. So our purpose is to make travel better for everyone, everywhere, by inspiring innovation, by fostering partnerships like the Social Entrepreneurship Competition, but also promoting responsibility to people, planet, and places. So we have an ESG strategy because we truly believe that we can drive change and we could put travel and tourism as a catalyst for positive changes in the world. So we have a strategy structured in 4 commitments. So I am part of the social impact team, focused on really fostering an inclusive, sustainable industry, collaborating with others. And we want to accelerate positive change through supporting the small players in the industry, supporting small businesses, but those who are really focused on creating impacts such as Mirko or Astra Stays as well, because we think if we help them to thrive, we will all make travel a force for good. So this is who we are.
Force for good, and the everybody everywhere. I want to touch on one aspect of that, because when you're in travel tech, Amadeus is just absolutely massive. It's probably more than we all know. So it's good to kind of chip away at the preconceptions. But you have a global reach. Are you not how do you source, or how do you find the projects to support, bearing in mind that we're in Berlin, but you have just as much voice in Asia or in Latin America or in the United States? So how do you pick your programs, given that your clients and your customers and your market is effectively global?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Kevin. We are convinced that the only way to drive positive change in our industry and to make it more inclusive is through collaboration. And we think that if we approach our projects with a global mindset, but with the purpose of creating local value, with partners that are looking for the same purpose, that are looking to pursue the same goals like Claudia, and then I will tell you about more projects that we support, is the way that that we can create really meaningful and tangible impact within the communities. That's why we are really interested in supporting these type of initiatives that brings entrepreneurs together, that provide them with visibility opportunities, but also provide them with the support they need.
Can I ask you a dumb question?
Yeah.
Where's the ROI? What are the KPIs for impact?
Well, that's also a really good question.
We love that you're there and you're a great ambassador for the space, but I imagine there must be meetings internally where there's a line item in a spreadsheet where we have to justify that. How do you marry those two worlds?
Yeah, so that's really challenging, but at the same time, I think it's a really inspired challenge that we always pursue internally, but also externally, because we think that impact-driven entrepreneurs are at the backbone of the industry, and they play a crucial role. So we already supported more than 120 entrepreneurs through Travel for Impact, which is another initiative that we co-led with IE University and International Business School. And we provide these figures, but not only from a quantitative perspective, but also from a qualitative one, because they are really business case studies in which they not only generate profit, but they are also creating social and environmental impact in the local communities. But again, as I said earlier, the entrepreneurs need support because they are not a big corporation like us with the resources that could be available for a big organization. So I think it's our mandate, it's our role to really help them and provide them with the support they need through the support and the collaboration with initiatives like the Social Entrepreneurship Competition.
Give me that number again. It was 140 programs, or 140 projects you supported.
120.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot to keep track of.
Only in the last, I would say, 4 years.
Okay. Okay, so arguably that in the next 4 years it'll be 240, but we'll see. It's not necessarily something that attracts traditional VC, and this is more than just greenwashing, right? So there's something there. There must be something in the DNA of Amadeus that makes us wonder. Is there something here that we could explore? Is there new projects to support? In any event, I love the focus that you put on it. What would happen if Claudia stops this? Are there other projects out there? Do you have a pipeline of projects to support?
Yeah, I think that the question that we need to do it is to do it from an inverse way. What would happen if we accelerate this type of collaborations, like the ones that we had with Claudia, or as Travel for Impact? So we are now launching the 5th edition of Travel for Impact. We are welcoming 25 impact-driven entrepreneurs in our program this September. So we are now having the open call for applying. So I think it's always thinking how we can strengthen this program, how we can make them evolve, how we can take them to the next level to really add value to these organizations. That is not just, okay, I will feature you in my website or in my social media, is what are your needs? Trying to listen to them, what are your needs? So every year we conduct surveys, we try to measure how we are helping them to grow and to adapt our initiatives to their needs. So for instance, now we are embedding a mentoring component to Travel for Impact because we understood that having insights from people, from our workforce who has a lot of knowledge, expertise, and also I would say different perspective for working many years here is crucial for them to continue.
At the end of the day, the whole point of entrepreneurship is to find something new, to find a gap.
Yeah.
Do something new, and for that there's no map. There's nothing to lay out the course ahead. You need the smart that comes from having fought the battles, having charted out your own course, and you'll have a world of expertise inside any organization ready to help, ready to guide, ready to say, well, maybe not look there, try here instead. And I think there's something quite valuable there. It's more than just the funds, right? So
yes, you're right, Kevin, but also we cannot do this alone. It doesn't make sense to be working in isolation. So we urge other organizations to join forces to find what are your unique values, leverage them, and also find common goals as we did with Claudia, as we do with IE University, to push these type of initiatives to go far.
If I can quickly step in, I think we talked a lot about the ecosystem, and what we need is that more companies like Amadeus, big companies with a huge expertise, join this ecosystem, that we can attract, let's say, in our case, really from the bottom, from the scratch, new initiatives, because we have a lot of innovation outside, and we have a lot of people who take the responsibility to change this travel industry. And on the other hand, we have a lot of companies who are searching for new products, and this is in the end what happens if we join forces. So we build up new things that can be new products for the industry. And this is how this ecosystem makes sense. And I think the more companies we have with a lot of power, not only money, but also a lot of experience, a lot of innovative ideas, how we can support these initiatives, then we can create new products all over the planet.
I think we should hear what actually happens
Yes.
when we support entrepreneurs. Simar, I'd like you to show a slide or two, if that's okay. Just tell us a little bit about this. So I love this. At our presentation, our awards ceremony last November, I was bowled over by your bold founder talking about being an astropreneur. Will you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure, Kevin. Thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you, Kevin, for having us here. If, to take you through the journey, I think I've been given a very big responsibility because I've been given the responsibility of taking you to the journey beyond stars, and particularly in the Indian Himalayas. So when we talk about astrostays, people usually tend to ask what astrotourism stands for. And sometimes it just restricts us to, just thinking about, stargazing experience with, the stays that locally are provided over there. But for us, it has been a very, growing, powerful and responsible tool, a type of tourism where people are not just being involved in stargazing, but they're also involved in the cultural aspect of it, the cultural astronomical side of it. And astrostays is basically just came with an idea where people can enjoy. It's an amalgamation of the traditional stays where people can enjoy the local lifestyle, the local culture, local heritage, along with the astronomical aspect of it. So when we started, it was starting with the training of 30 individual entrepreneurs from Ladakh. That's the northernmost part of India, where you have clear dark skies at an altitude of 14,000 feet, roughly translating to 3,500 meters, 4,000 meters. So the story, with the local individuals, I think they are the treasure holders of that story. And no one can tell you the traditions and the local folklores better than them. And what good of a way to tell that, express that story through stars. They are the masters when you tell them, okay, these 3 stars are aligned, and they just immediately tell you, oh, tomorrow it's going to rain. So it's that, deep and, enrooted in them. And that's what, leveraged us to use this as a tool to have those budding entrepreneurs. And we talk about entrepreneurs. These are, those people who have been trained. They are the local indigenous people, local indigenous community coming from those remote regions of Himalayas. And they have been, given a tool, just a tool, where they are using their knowledge to enhance the travelers, experience of staying with the local family and having the best of culture that they can have. And the picture that you see, it's one of the astro stays we have in Ladakh. And the rooms that you see, they are all equipped with better amenities. And the idea is to focus upon the traditional aspect of it, so that you do not lose the roots, you do not lose the real and authentic aspect of it, but then you also have to see from travelers' perspective, right? You have to have basic amenities. So it's a combination of both those things, provided to a traveler traveling from all across the globe. And it's been a 5-year journey for us, and we have multiple astro stays, not in Ladakh only, but in different parts of India.
You covered all of my questions. Thank you for that. But the one thing we missed, which I'm really looking forward to asking you, it's my 13th ITB, I think. Claudia, I'm afraid to ask because, when you're in travel, this is kind of the place you need to be once a year. We all collect here, and as a community, we get together, we find new business opportunity. It's your first.
Yes.
So 2 questions in one. What has it meant to have gone through and won the competition with the Social Entrepreneurship Competition? And secondly, how's business been for the last couple of days here?
Coming with the first question, actually, so you see, I am here because the team is on the ground doing, the work that needs to be done. And that's why I can come up here. And the last year's prize or the competition winning, I would say it was, of course, a feather in the cap, but it was a real inspiration and motivation for the local community who has given their hearts into it. And for us as a team, when you see these initiatives which are community-based, these initiatives which are, focused on those indigenous people, it becomes a sense of, motivation for you to just go on. And I think that's what it meant for us. Thank you. Thank you for having us again here. That's how the journey has been for us from last year to, this year. And then coming to the next part, I think the business has been doing really, very great. If you see, of course, to sustain yourself, you need to have some money in your pocket. At the end of the day, you have to have food in your stomach. So you have to, fight for it. But if you see the backstory of it, the people who are involved, of course, it is another means of livelihood for them. So when you train, so I'll just give you a brief about the journey, how the people have been involved into it. When we started training those people, it was all about enhancing their scientific temper, which they already has. So at some point of time, we have been able to do that. So when it started with the training, there were a lot of people, who were involved in this. So it's now set up in one village, but it's not restricted to just one family. The other stakeholders that, are a part of it are the other people, are the other, village members. Some elderly people person who is 80 years old, comes to the session and gives you all the stories that he has been, how he used to navigate his, the journeys through monsoon, through different seasons. And that's how they are a part of it. Not, earning directly, but giving the loads of knowledge that they have stored. But if we talk about the business perspective, it's been, again, a 5-year journey where travelers from all across the globe have been coming. So now you actually are in a place which is at 14,000 feet. You have all the basic amenities covered. You have all the basic, comforts covered. But at the same time, you have that traditional cuisine with you. You have those, the bunch of, or the bag full of stories with you. And people are paying for it. People are giving good amount of money, not because it is something that you have to do as a your basic thing, but it's because it's part of the cultural immersion that they have been, and it has been going really, very great for us. It is a profitable business for us.
Good. Look, there's a way of framing a great idea, and we all get excited during a pitch. We all get excited during a process, but it's important that it sustains itself. And at the moment, you're feeding families. Your network of those astropreneurs are able to support themselves through this type of activity. It's great. A very different type of activity is what I'd like to hear from yourself, Mirko. If you could take the clicker, please. We'll have a couple more questions for around the panel again. But Mirko, will you show me what you do exactly?
Yeah, first of all, I'm really glad to be here because the idea of this project started in Berlin 12 years ago. So for me, it's nice to come back here.
It took you 12 years to come back.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to come back soon. Well, Apennini for All is a tour operator that is working for accessible tourism for people with disabilities. Okay. So we try to involve people with disability in the nature and the mountain activities. We work with people with physical or sensorial or cognitive disabilities. But I always like to say that we are not tour operator for people with disability, but we are also for people with disabilities, because our key word is the inclusion. So we like to share and to show that we can do all together, able-bodied people and people with disability. The number of the people with disability is really high in Europe, 127 million of people. In Italy, the potential market is 10 million. So the numbers are really, really high. To go to the mountain, we use this aid that you can see in the photo. It's called Jolette, and it's a kind of wheelchair with just one wheel that with at least 2 drivers can bring people almost everywhere. And we are facing a lot of problems with accessible tourism. The biggest problem are the cost of the aids. Can you imagine that one bicycle, tandem bicycle for people with disability costs 20,000 €? we are facing a problem of transport. If you travel in Rome, you have no problem, but from Rome to the city center of Rome, you have no idea how to come if you are on the wheelchair. We are facing a problem with accommodation because we work in the mountain. So there are a lot of hotel that family hotel, small hotel. They don't have room for people on wheelchair.
It's not their first instinct or first priority maybe to have a wheelchair accessible room. You know.
But we are with our job, we are showing them that it's also a business, the accessible tourism. So they have to invest on these kind of things.
Myself and Claudia had a little bit of a fight before the panel. And Tomas, if you don't mind, we'll have a quick look at a video I sneaked into the session, because there's something that's quite powerful in the way that this plays out. So I don't know if we'll see it at all, but anyway, what we see, at least in the photos here, is you've got a little mini community that springs up around the wheelchair user. It's yourself, obviously, the guides, there's the service, the kind of the basic kind of, this is what you might get from an accessible version of Get Your Gut, whatever. But you've got the service right there, but there's a little community there. You've got people, almost a festive atmosphere going up the side of a mountain.
Yeah, it's true. Talking about the community, I have two versions. I have the version about my activities. Can you imagine that I opened this tour operator in a village of 500 inhabitants, where there were no bed and breakfast, no hotel, nothing, zero tourism. And I decided to open this tour operator, even more tour operator for inclusive. But since I opened this tour operator, all the community was really proud of me, let's say, and they was trying to help me. And for example, when one of the last big events that I done, we were like, we want to go to the highest mountain of the Apennine. It's called Gran Sasso, the big stone, with one physical disabled people. And I just sent a message to 3-4 friends, and in 3 days I get 40 person ready to push the person to the top. So I decided to bring on the top a second person wheelchair, and we had also one blind people there. The second version of the community, let me say this because it's funny, because when there was the competition, the audience competition, I just sent one message to my family and a group of 2 friends, and in 24 hours I get 700 votes. Really, I didn't do nothing. So. Wow. This is for me really nice feedback for my community.
So look, you made in preparing for the session, we had a long chat, and you made me think about something I hadn't thought about before. What do I get at the top of a mountain? I know what I get when I do a hike. I do a whole head around Dublin. It's a small little thing, or I go up one of the Dublin mountains. It's a nice afternoon. Can you capture for me the emotion of a blind person at the top of a mountain? What's in it for them?
It's difficult to say this. You have to live a little bit like this. I can tell you that once there was one guy that lived all his life under one big mountain, and all his friends, they were on the top of the mountains at least in his life. He never been there.
They'll all come back with stories, and he'll hear
them. Yeah, exactly. So he asked to us, please, I have a dream. Can I go there? Can you bring me there? So we went with him. We organized a group of 50 persons. We took 6 months to organize all this. And this guy can walk only 20 minutes a day. When we arrived to the top, he decided to go down from the Jolette and walk in the last 20 meters alone. Oh. And you can imagine all the groups around him, crying, smiling, and it was really, really nice. So, I mean, I can tell a lot of a story, but to live that story, they are different. But I want to say also that the target of this kind of tourism, they are not only the people with disability, but they are all the family, the partner, all the people around, because they can share a moment with them that usually they cannot share.
It's incredible. Okay, I'm going to throw a question to Claudia here. You can skip to the next slide there for me, Mirko. We have the idea that these are completely different projects. One creates a community around a user, one creates a community around entrepreneurs. Claudia, if you had €1 million in sponsorship tomorrow, what would you spend it on?
This would be a really good day in my life. And also for all the entrepreneurs who are applying here. So I think what I would do is strategically allocate this million in, let's say, 3 different areas. So one would be resources, building a strong foundation, building something like an angel fund with that we can also take the journey a little bit longer from these entrepreneurs. This means at the moment they step in, we create, let's say, mentorship, we create publicity, we create the network, but to go ahead, there's money needed also. So we could take first this fund, then I think what we also need is empowering our community. So I would take, let's say, 1 share of this million to empower the community and to make, this is a vision of mine or a dream, I would like to host events in different parts of the world where we meet each other, because I think we are really digital, and this is also a very good thing of the competition, that we are completely digital. Therefore, a lot of people can join us, also with their phones or however, wherever they are. If they have an internet connection, they can join. But as we see today, it is really important that sometimes we meet each other with our partners, that we meet our, let's say, the group, the community. So we should create these events around the planet, meet each other, learn from each other, and train each other. This would be the second thing I would like to do. And what we already discussed, we would work on our measurement. The impact measurement is one of the big things at the moment in the whole community. So there are different approaches from different sides. I have at the moment a master thesis working with AI on the idea of how can we measure the impact, because we ask the entrepreneurs to bring at least 3 SDGs. And what I like to see is the SDG, for example, 7, you choose it, or 8, and how is this built in your business model? So where is it proven? And this is what I would like to see. We are working on that, but this would be something where I would like to spend money.
Look, I think it's a compelling proposition from a sponsor's perspective. You provide structure and a way to surface new projects, new entrepreneurship, and I think it's a great way of giving back. It's something I love to do, is to give back through our programs, our work together, and I hope long may that last, as well as the type of sponsors, like you might want to mention them, but Amadeus is one. We were due to be joined by Lufthansa City Center today as well, but there's been such a cast of characters that have made this possible. So I think it's a strength of yourself first, but to the sponsors themselves to keep being part of this. Lucas, do we have questions from the audience or from Slido? Here we go. Do you currently see the model of social entrepreneurship at risk, or do we need it more than ever? Do you know, I'm going to play this in a different way. Mirko, I want you to answer that one.
Thank you. Let's say one thing. I won 4 national prizes as a startup. And during this competition, I was the only one without any artificial intelligence or technology. So we need more of social entrepreneurship, I think. The world needs more of this. And I think there will be a future, because we are becoming, everybody of us is becoming selfish, isolated. So I think there will be a future around this world.
We have put on cue the video of Mirko's journey of a mountain of one.
This is the video that I was telling you that with 2 guys we reached the top of this big mountain, and we had also 1 blind people with us. And one of these guys is paraplegic, so he doesn't move, nothing, only the face. The other guy is like 14 years old, and he loves the mountain. So
it's amazing, really, just that little community that sprung up around it. It's such a powerful image, and I'm so glad we got it in just at the end. Everything will go okay during the show. It's all good. Do we have a question live in the audience, maybe? I'll leave it to the floor then. In light of worldwide unstable economic conditions, I should have started with something lighter. Do you consider social entrepreneurship a future-proof approach for founders, Claudia?
Sure. No, I think we are all struggling at the moment, and from the first day of this ITB, from the opening award ceremony, everybody was talking about what tourism can do. And if we think that we really need each other, like Mirko said before, we need that we meet each other, and like you said, we also need that we feed the communities at home. And we have also this other aspect that social entrepreneurship makes more than just having a business, moving people around, understand each other. And I think in these times it is more than needed that we look not only at the business side, but we also have to feed the children. Huh?
Yep. Look, it's, I'll end on a quote from One Trip, the president and founder of, was it the founder of Pan Am? He considered the 747 the greatest weapon for peace because we can bring people together. And I think that there's never been a more important moment for tourism and for people, because it's people that runs the world and not process. With that in mind, everybody, thank you so much for joining us as part of this panel. Dr. Claudia Bruzza, Cecilia Saravale, Mirko Cipollone, and Samar Preetkaur. Thank you so much for being here and part of our panel, and for ITB for hosting us. We'll be next door. Thank you for being here. You guys, just on time, just on time.
So we have next door 30 minutes, a room for networking. Please join us.
Thank you.